Hey guys, welcome to the official first episode of the Brew City Lounge. Lots of Bucks and Brewers talk to dive into. Drew Holiday, here to stay. How much longer will the Brewers offense continue to struggle? And how bad exactly is that knee injury for Giannis? That and much more. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. Available on all platforms. Let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Happy Friday. I hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to the first episode of the Brew City Lounge. I am your host, Brandon. You can go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. Very active on Twitter. Go ahead and follow the show on our social medias. On Twitter, we are at Brew City Pod. On Facebook, at Brew City Lounge. I'm super excited about this show. I really am. Brew City Lounge. Obviously, the name of the show kind of gives it away. We are on a, beer city, Brew City. I mean, what more can you ask for? We got a lot to talk about. We're going to dive into all things Bucks and Brewers. I got Dario Melendez coming up on the show this evening. We got a couple fun guests lined up for next week. But yeah, we're in the Lounge Room Network. Go ahead and follow them on Twitter at Lounge Room Net. Super excited to be a part of that network. Shout out to the president, Juan. Believe you can follow him on Twitter at Bears Fanatico 94. He's been absolutely awesome. Walking through the whole process of getting a show together, getting it running, what's needed. We were on FaceTime a couple days ago. He's walking me through on what to do and make sure I had everything lined up. So he's been awesome. Shout out to him. Vice President, Rhino, follow him on Twitter at Sports Talk Rhino. Super excited to be a part of this network. And I'm just really excited for this show. I'm from Milwaukee, born and raised. Was gone for, a while, what was it? 10, 12 years, something like that. Was served in the military. And now I'm back home. I just moved back here 2019. I moved back here, in the summer of 2019. So there's a lot that I need to learn about this city. There's a lot that, I could use, a lot of advice on. Where's the best place to grab a beer? Where's the best place to grab a burger, a fish fry, all the fun stuff to do. Hopefully with COVID-19 in the rear view, hopefully we can get back to kind of living our life the way we used to be. And in Milwaukee, there's not a better place. My opinion, I've been all over the world. And obviously I'm a homer. I love my home, love my city, and I love my teams. And that's why I'm doing this podcast. I approached Juan about it, doing a podcast about the Bucks and the Brewers. You don't find too many people doing podcasts on the Bucks or Brewers. You have a lot of football. Speaking of football, follow me on Sundays. Follow the football podcast we do, the Packers. It's a Titletown Lounge. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a follow. We go live every Sunday. Always got fun guests lined up, and it's something that we're super stoked about. There's always stuff to talk about the NFL. If you guys are just tuning in, appreciate it. We're getting started here. Welcome to the Brew City Lounge. Follow us on Twitter at Brew City Pod, on Facebook at Brew City Lounge. But yeah, Brewer season just kicking off. Lots to dive into already in the season. Is that pitching gonna sustain the success that it's had? Are the bats ever gonna wake up? You flip over to the basketball side in Milwaukee. Is Giannis okay? I mean, really, it's something that you think he is. You hear about Bud in his pre and post game presser, and he kind of knocks it, to the side and says he's not worried. Giannis is never the type of guy to miss multiple games. He never has been. He never will, unless he absolutely has to. And he's now gone, I believe, the last 4 games, and I believe it's like 6 out of the last 11. So, I mean, there's some concern there. There's something, that's worrisome. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into Drew Holiday signing the extension. We're going to get into, the early season successes and failures so far of the Brewers. I mean, 3-4 record. So we're going to get into some of that, and talk about what needs to happen for the Bucks to get into the playoffs and make a long run. Obviously, they're going to get into the playoffs. What's it going to take for them to get into the Eastern Conference Finals and beyond? Because when you got a player like Giannis, you got a player like Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, really good bench, very athletic bench. I think Eastern Conference Finals are the floor. Like everything above that is expected now. No more Eastern Conference Finals, no more second round, no more, not making it through to the finals. And you got a player like Giannis, it's time to take that step. It's time to take that final step for him and complete his journey as a back-to-back MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. In my opinion, I'm completely homer. He's the best player in the NBA. Jake says trade Middleton. I don't know about that, man. I don't know. We're gonna get into that. I got a lot of stuff lined up for that with the whole Middleton thing. I know he's not a fan favorite right now, especially for what happened last night, going 6 for 27. So we're gonna get into Chris Middleton and the season struggles he continues to have time to time. But welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Super excited for you guys to follow me on this journey. And I want to hear from you guys. It's a solo podcast. It's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun. We're in the thick of the Bucks season. The Brewers are just kicking off, just beat the Cubs in a 3-game set, lost a devastating fashion yesterday against the Cardinals. 2 more games coming up this weekend. I don't know why they have a split with the Thursday into Friday and then Saturday, Sunday, but I guess it's an early season. I think they're doing it for the weather reasons, but I'm not for trading Middleton. I think Middleton is a very important, how this team moves forward. You're not going to find many guys with, your number 3 option or number 2 option, however you classify Middleton. And that's a discussion we're going to have later on in the show. I don't know how many guys are averaging over 20 points at maybe your number 3. In my opinion, he's probably the number 3rd option. Money wise, he's a max guy. I understand that, but he's darn good for your number 2 or 3 option, no matter which way you look at it. I know everybody wants the James Hardens and the Bradley Beals and the CJ McCollums and, Kyrie Irvings and Anthony Davises, but this is Milwaukee and this is what we're used to. We're always overlooked, and that's okay, because one day we're going to take it to the next step, and this city's going to get, the championship that it's so rightfully deserved. And super excited for what lies ahead for the Bucks. I think they have big things coming. And so I'm pretty excited about what's coming up with them. So a lot to get into. We got a couple guests lined up for next week. We're going to run the shows primarily on Tuesdays and Fridays, barring, guests appear every now and then, different times. Just stay tuned. Follow us on social media. Again, if you're just joining the show, follow me on Twitter. I'm your host, Brandon. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. And then follow the show's social media pages. We're on Twitter at Brew City Pod, and on Facebook at Brew City Lounge. So we're just kicking off a brand new network, Lounge Room Network. So many fun guys are in the network. So many different fan bases, so many different backgrounds all over the country. We're super stoked to work with these guys, to lean on them and have a lot of fun with the show. So we're just kicking off now, just waiting for Dario to jump on. But we can jump right into it. I want to start off the show, something that kind of caught my eye last Sunday. It was Easter. Wasn't expecting it. Drew Holiday, max contract. You can say what you want about Drew Holiday. You can say what you want about, he's not Kyrie. He's not James Harden. He's not Russell Westbrook. I disagree with all that. In my opinion, Drew Holiday is the best 2-way guard in the NBA. And you could make an argument that he's the best 2-way player in the NBA. Now, his teammate, Giannis, will, probably give you a little bit of an argument because he's just as good, if not better. Obviously, he's the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year from last year. So Drew Holiday, you get Drew Holiday 4 years, 135. I know the deal has, it has its opportunity to work up to 160, but I think it's a great deal. I mean, I think it's phenomenal. I mean, in my opinion, you could definitely argue that he's a top 10 point guard in the NBA. And I think that, maybe it's a stretch saying he's a top 5, but he's up there. Like, he's there. He gets overlooked, and he has been overlooked for his whole career. I mean, he was drafted into Philly, and Philly didn't really do much with him. They didn't take the time. It was a disaster in his early seasons in Philly. And then he goes down to New Orleans, and New Orleans is kind of like Milwaukee. It's kind of one of those small market. If you can't grab a superstar, you hope that you can draft well. And if you hit on your draft, so then that's what you're going to use to get deep into the playoffs. And then sometimes that doesn't even work. And we're running into those issues here in Milwaukee with our team. But I love Drew Holiday. I mean, you're talking about a point guard who's averaging 17.3 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, and 5.5 assists per game. While on the other end, outside of the bigs on that team, he's guarding the best player. And Kevin Durant, Paul George, both of those guys who are really good scorers. Kevin Durant's probably the best scorer in the NBA and has been for the last 10 years, publicly says Drew Holiday is the best defender he has ever played against. Kevin Durant's almost 7 feet tall. Drew Holiday is not. That's saying something. That's saying something to who Drew Holiday is. I know he's 30 years old, and people look at him, you're going to pay a guy 30 years, 4 years from now, you're going to be paying him X amount of dollars. Okay. That's the NBA. I mean, that's what the NBA, the going rate of the NBA is. I mean, you're talking about guys like Russell Westbrook, John Wall, great players. They're awesome players. They do a lot of good things outside of the NBA. Russell Westbrook has not won anywhere outside of when he was here with Kevin Durant out in Oklahoma City. John Wall. I mean, these guys, listen to these deals real quick. You got Drew Holiday for 4 years at 135, has the opportunity to get to 160. And I get that. That's great. Russell Westbrook, 4 years, $171 million. 4 years, $171 million. Get it. He's a triple-double guy. He's going to get you 20, 10, and 10 almost every night. But he's also going to lose. You're going to lose that game. And that's not a knock on him. He's way better at his job than I am at mine. That is not a knock on him at all. But I'm taking Drew Holiday, and I'm a homer. You can look around and you can see that. That's okay. I'm still taking Drew Holiday. I want a point guard that can defend the best player on the other team, minus a big. That's what you got Giannis and Brook Lopez for. John Wall, 4 years, $170 million. Now, we know he was affected by an injury. I believe it was his Achilles, and he got traded. He's now in Houston. So 4 years, 170, almost identical to Russell Westbrook, another point guard in which I am taking Drew Holiday over. I'm taking Drew Holiday over John Wall. And it's not, again, no disrespect to John Wall. You're talking about a guy that can't stay healthy in John Wall. I mean, Adidas left his contract, his endorsement. I'm taking Drew Holiday, again, for the simple reasons that the guy just locks down the other team's best player. And he does it on a nightly basis. I mean, we're talking last 5 games of Drew Holiday before last night. At the Clippers, 24 points, 7 assists. At the Lakers, 28 points, 6 assists. At Portland, 22 points, 10 assists. At Sacramento, in a game where Giannis didn't play, 33 points, 11 assists. And at Golden State, 24 points, 5 assists. I mean, it's a nightly thing for this guy. He knows what he's doing. I mean, he's the best two-way guard in the NBA, and I really, really do love him. And I'm glad he's in Milwaukee, and I think he fits really well with Giannis and Chris Middleton. And I know, the issues that I think the team is having this year has just been, it's been the injury concerns. It's been, even Drew Holiday. I mean, the Bucks record without Drew Holiday, and he missed 11 games due to COVID. He suffered from COVID early in the season. And Adam, thanks for joining the show, brother. He missed a couple games in the early part of the season. The Bucks went 5-6 without him. 5-6. If you don't think that he makes a difference, listen to this. His record with Drew Holiday, 27-12. 27-12 with Drew Holiday. Again, you can think that you can put it in the back burner. He's not who he used to be. He's not, what he should be. I think he's real great. I think he's great. I know he went off Some people say it went off on the rails. However you word it, however you think. I mean, he said that he mentioned that the Bucks could be like the Warriors dynasty, and I don't know if that's really true. I don't know, if that's something that they could sustain. I mean, I don't know if that puts any pressure on him. I mean, I can see where he's saying. I think he's saying like, okay, so he got that 4-year deal. Him and Giannis and Chris Middleton are all locked up together. I believe it goes through, and I know my buddy Jake will correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it goes through the 23 season. I could be wrong, but I think it goes through the 23 season. Barring that they don't get, none of them get injured or hurt. So they're locked up together. So I can see where he's saying that. I think in the long run, you're not going to, maybe you don't see Drew Holiday make such a huge difference, right now. And I think he's still trying to get his feet under him, get acclimated to a new team, new system, learning to play with new players. And these are the same players that he's trying to learn to play with. But Giannis out, Chris Middleton, PJ Tucker out. I mean, these guys are, Dante's out tonight. I mean, he's still trying to get used to playing with these guys. At the same time, they're not playing in games because of injuries or resting or whatever you call it. So I think where you're going to see Drew Holiday take that next step is going to be in the playoffs. I think you're going to see him be a difference maker in the playoffs. Whereas Bucks fans, we're accustomed to, okay, we get to the playoffs, we're going to cruise through the first round. No problem. Well, then Terry Rozier is going to embarrass Eric Bledsoe. Again, no disrespect to Eric Bledsoe. I think he's a great player and a great person, but he got embarrassed in that second round with the Warriors. Drew Holiday's not going to let that happen. At least I don't think he does. I don't think he's going to. I mean, his player efficiency rating, whether you believe in the analytics department or not, I mean, he's at a 23.6. Now, to put that in perspective, the average NBA point guard is a 15. So the average point guard is 15, and our point guard here in Milwaukee is 23.6. I think that's phenomenal. I mean, so much to look forward to. I love, that we officially, some people will knock on Chris Middleton. I think officially Milwaukee has their big three, and they got the big three for the long haul. Jake drops by in a comment. He says, if they fall short again, it's time to make a change. He's asking, is it time to make a change? Bud probably being gone if they lose in the second round. Can't be complacent. I don't disagree. And we're going to dive into that towards the end of the show when we talk about Giannis's injury and where this team is going forward. I think he's absolutely right. He is going to be on the hot seat. He is going to be somebody that is going to be looked at from the ownership, like what else do you need, man? You got, I mean, before not Giannis's knee injury, you could argue he was the MVP this year. He is the MVP. You can make the argument he's the MVP every year, but what more do you need, bud? I mean, you got the best player arguably in the NBA in Giannis. You got arguably the best two-way guard in the NBA in Drew Holiday. Say what you want about Chris Middleton. If he's your third option, and we're going to talk about the options after Giannis later on in the show, we're going to get to that. Don't let me forget. I ran a Twitter poll. I kind of wanted to get the pulse on the city and see where they were at and the fan base. But if your third option is Chris Middleton and he's averaging 20.3 points a game, I mean, that's pretty darn good. I mean, for a third option, I would, if you told me that 10 years ago while I'm watching Jared Bayless run the offense, that, hey, pretty soon you're going to have the best two-way guard in the NBA, and your third option is, or, whatever you call your third option. I mean, even if it's Drew or Middleton, you're still not losing a whole lot. Is going to be at 20 points a game and an efficient scorer. I know he had a rough game last night. I get it. I wish everybody would understand that is not going to happen every night. And if it's going to, some nights you have those. I mean, I could pull up a stat sheet looking back and show a Steph Curry game where he went 9 of 35. I mean, it happens, and it's going to happen probably again, and it's going to be okay. I promise you. Chris Middleton will figure it out. He will get it figured out. He's not playing tonight. If you are just tuning in, thank you for joining. We're just discussing some Bucks talk right here. Follow us on Twitter at Brew City Pod. Jump on the Facebook page. at Brew City Lounge. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. It's Friday. Grab a beer. Let's have some fun. No Brewer game. Bucks kick off in about 2 hours or so. So we're just getting started here with the Bucks talk. And yeah, so I think what the Bucks have going on in Milwaukee, there's a lot to look forward to. And then you jump across the street, go down the road, down 94, and you get into AmFam Field. And you know, it's been a stressful week as a Brewer fan. There's been a lot of ups and downs. They haven't necessarily hit at all. Keston Hira and Jackie Bradley Jr. have a combined 2 hits at like almost 50 at bats. So it's been a struggle offensively to the Brewer season. And I agree with my dad, actually, Kendall. Everybody has a bad game once in a while. Can't hold that against them. And he's absolutely right. And back against the Bucks, Chris Middleton comes to play in the playoffs. He's shown that against Boston. He'll be back. Jake drops in. We have Drew last 2 seasons. We make the finals. Bledsoe was that bad in the playoffs. Again, back to my point initially. And I know I'm jumping ship from Bucks to Brewers, and that's okay. That's what we do at the Brew City Pod. There is no set show. We jump around. We talk whatever we're passionate about. This is what we're passionate about. Jake is absolutely 100% right. It is not Drew Holiday running the ship this year in this playoffs. Drew Holiday is on this team last year or the year prior. Maybe not last year. Last year was a weird year. Credit to the Lakers. You're the champions. Sure. Okay. Stop the season for 3-4 months and got your legs under you. 35-year-old LeBron James is not doing that, what he did in the bubble, if we're on a normal NBA season. And that's okay. Yeah, I'm not taking a shot at Lakers or their fans. It's your title, put up your banner, whatever you want to call it, COVID championship. I don't care. But Drew Holiday's on this team last year, if not the 2018, 2019 year. He's on our team on that team, on our roster in that season. There's not a chance. There's not a chance that we lose against Toronto. Again, not taking anything away from Toronto. But they took advantage of the weak spots on that bench. They took advantage of Eric Bledsoe, Kyle Lowry, kind of bullied him from time to time. And I can tell you right now, I do not think that happens with Drew Holiday. And I'm just a big Drew Holiday fan. And I'll be honest with you, prior to the Bucks acquiring Drew Holiday, I didn't follow him. I didn't look at his game logs and see, what did Drew Holiday do tonight? Okay, that's somebody I want. I didn't. I really didn't. Where I started falling in love with Drew Holiday is when I started watching him. You just watch a guy that is in sole control. He's backing down for, 4s and 5s, and he's bullying them. And I mean, defensively and offensively. And he's that much of a difference maker to me. And I'm completely biased. It's completely fine. You guys will get to know me. That's fine. I mean, I think he is a difference maker. And I think if you have a healthy Giannis, and a Chris Middleton that shows up, and maybe having Drew Holiday this year, and the way he's playing or the way he will play. And I'm joined right now, Mr. Dario Melendez. Sir, can you hear me? Dario, are you there?
You got me.
Dario Melendez, my friend.
There we go. How's it going?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is the very first episode, Dario, of the Brew City Lounge.
Oh.
So when we go famous, because we're going to go famous, and when I get on that national stage, I want you to be the one that you were the first, a very first guest, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Dario Melendez, Bally Sports' very own TV host and reporter. Give him a follow on Twitter at Dario_Melendez. Dario, how you doing, man?
Good, man. I just want to let you know the biggest reason why I decided to do this podcast tonight was, 1, you're one of my favorite Twitter follows. And 2, I really wanted to upset Rhino. He is what I call a King Dingleberry. And I needed to make sure he wasn't the first podcast I got to do.
Well, hey, from the bottom of my heart, man, I greatly appreciate it. Now, everybody knows Dario as the awesome TV host and reporter. What people may not know, Dario, and you got to explain this to them, you are a Guinness World Record holder.
Yes, I am.
I mean, that's a big deal.
I mean, you said it, not me. Obviously, we all know. Yeah, no, it was cool. I was doing my radio show on 97 through the game. There could be something coming up very soon that there could be a little reunion. We'll see what happens. But
That's exciting.
I always like kind of thinking outside the box and having fun because that's what you don't really get to see with us on TV. We're very polished. It's very cut and dry. It's very formulaic. So radio gives you the opportunity to be a little bit more yourself, be goofy. And if there's one thing I like, it's swag, trophies, memorabilia, stupid plaques. So we had this dude that had set, I don't know, like 150 Guinness World Records on. I'm like, okay, I don't want to do anything serious. What is like a low hanging fruit world record that you're not going to waste your time on that I can do? And he said, donut stacking. I mean, right now, the Guinness World Record for most donuts stacked blindfolded in a minute was 7. Deal. So I put in the application. We attempted the record in front of tens of thousands of fans, and it got approved like 7 months later. It was the most excruciating, agonizing 7 months of my life.
Did you guys?
It was cool. Actually, I got the plaque. I don't
know. They sent it to you. See,
there we go.
See, nobody,
World Record plaque.
Not many other people are going to be able to say they had a Guinness World Record holder on their show. So, I mean, guys, Brew City Lounge.
You want me to break some news for you? I haven't told anybody yet.
Absolutely, sir.
June 4th, 2021. So the first Friday of every June is National Donut Day. So June 4th, 2021 in Greenfield, Milwaukee, Mequon is going to be Dario Melendez Day.
Oh, that is phenomenal because you're also a state fair champion as well.
I am a cream puff state fair champion. Oh, hold on 1 second. I'll be back.
See, we got guys, Brew City Lounge here. We got the best guests. I mean, Guinness World Record, state fair, Cream City eating champion, June 4th, 2021. Look at that.
There you go.
Look at that, ladies and gentlemen.
Celebrity
That's phenomenal.
Cream puff eating champ. Champ.
Dario, you are the man. I
again, what you call a dork, like a massive dork. If you want, I'll take you downstairs and show you all my Legos.
I was going to ask if you got into any new Legos lately.
I have not. I did the Empire State Building and Statue of Liberty, which is on one of my office desks over there. But really into the Star Wars stuff, like all the chicks dig. Chicks dig Star Wars. We know that. My wife, if I wasn't married, I'd have no chance.
Well, we don't have to worry about that right now. So I'm going to get right into it. For those of you that don't know, and you all should, Dario Melendez hosts the Brewers and the Bucks pre- and post-game show on what is now Bally Sports, used to be formerly known as Fox Sports. Dario, real quick, I know it's only a week into the season, and I know Milwaukee fans are so passionate. What are your thoughts on the early season of the Brewers? Offensively, it's been a struggle, but pitching's been something that I don't know if we really expected. I know it was a question mark going into the season, but what are your early thoughts on the season so far?
That everybody just needs to calm down. This is what I always say, and it's not meant to be an insult. Like, I'm not a fan of any sport anymore. This business kind of does it to you. And it's not that I don't root for the Brewers, and growing up I was a big Marlins fan, but fan stands for fanatic. It means you're fanatical about the outcome. You live and die, you breathe by it, which is awesome, which is why I decided to come back to Milwaukee. But in baseball, in 162 games, you just have to be patient, especially at the beginning of the season. We're 7 games in and everybody's jumping ship already. I actually expected the pitching staff to be exactly what they are.
Okay.
I was hoping, and we've only seen one outing from Hauser. We'll get to see him again, I'm guessing, tomorrow in St. Louis, and I'll be doing that game. Corbin Burns, exactly what I thought he'd be. Brandon Woodruff, what I thought he'd be. That Freddie Peralta slider changeup, I saw a little bit of it in spring training.
Okay.
If he could throw that thing consistently, which he did in his first outing.
Right.
But whoever has taught him that, and I'm guessing it was Hook that was really working with him on that a lot.
Yep.
That could be the key to the rest of this rotation, because Brett Anderson's going to give you what he gives you. He's going to be an off-speed guy that after you see power arm after power arm after power arm, he's going to mess with some teams, and that's what you want. I mean, he's consistent. He really, in my opinion, outside of obviously the last game where you have the home runs, but he falls into a lot of bad luck. The defense is shored up a lot with Colton Wong now at second and Luis Urias at short, and you got Travis Shaw now, and you kind of hide Keston here a little bit. Anderson's going to be fine, but this pitching staff is going to be the bread and butter of the National League Central. It might be one of the better pitching staffs in all of baseball. Hitting takes time. Aramis Ramirez is the guy I always like to point to because he is one of the better third basemen we've seen in a long time come through Milwaukee. Notorious for being one of the worst hitters the first 2 months of the season. And then he would always pick it up. I mean, these guys are professional hitters. I understand people are worried about Keston Hiura. Just give him more than a week. Give him a month maybe. I mean, this isn't a race anymore. Last year was a little weird. Look at Omar Narvaez. Everybody wanted to write Omar Narvaez off last year because of a weird 2-month season, and he's hotter than hot. So the hitting will come. All you have to do is be within a game or two, even 3 of first place at the All-Star break, and you'll get hitting because you're going to make a trade. This team, in my opinion, will probably be first place by the All-Star break because I think they're that good. The pitching's that good. The bullpen will be great. All you have to do is be within 3 games of first place come the All-Star break. Stearns, Arnold will make moves, and the team will be just fine. And
they've shown that. And I echo exactly what you're saying. It is a long season, and you see a lot of chatter on Twitter with pulling Woodruff out, pulling Burns out, and I think people are quick to forget, like, okay, I know last year we were hung up on every game mattered. You're 60 games in, every win and loss really did matter. I mean, it kind of, but now this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. I mean, you're in for the long haul. And when you pull Woody out, I mean, I know he went no hit bait into the 6th, and then, the Brewers eventually won that game. But I mean, you got to understand that this is a marathon. I mean, these guys are not. Last year they didn't pitch near enough amount of innings as they should have. This year is almost 3 times longer. Let Craig Counsell do what he does. I mean, in my opinion, and again, I'm biased. I no fear in admitting that. I think he's the best manager in the National League, and goes under the radar a whole lot because of where he lives and manages. But I'll tell you what, though, I think the one that surprised me so far was Freddie Peralta. I think he has been something that I was not expecting this early in the season. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. Look, again, it goes both ways. I mean, you want to slow the roll, pump the brakes a little bit when guys are losing. You also want to slow the roll, pump the brakes a little bit with guys that don't really have a track record yet. Like we saw Corbin Burns last year. We saw him in 2018. We saw Woodruff last year. We saw him in 2018. So we kind of know what we're getting with those guys. Peralta, to this point in his career, hasn't been consistent. He shows flashes of being the guy that David Stearns thought he was getting when he acquired him a few years ago. So I don't want to get overly excited, but man, that slider curveball, the changeup he's working on, it looks really good. His velocity is up like 3 ticks as well. Like you remember 2 years ago, he was low to maybe high 80s. And Augie used to always explain it like there's 2 types of fastballs that just come in straight, and then fastballs that have a little explosion at the end. And he was saying that Peralta's fastball has a little giddy up at the end that catches guys, and that's why he was so successful with a very mediocre fastball. But now his fastball is high. His changeup / curveball, whatever that pitch he throws which is crazy. Yeah, it's 80 miles an hour. So you have a 15 to 16 mile an hour drop off. Hitters don't stand a chance. But you have to be able to throw it for strikes. His first outing, threw it for strikes. Yep. So we'll see what happens. And look, I mean, I know you mentioned the Woodruff stuff. It's 2021, man. Like pitchers outside of the top echelon don't throw 7, 8, 9 innings anymore. Like this is a bullpen game. Woody said it himself. I mean, he was a little gassed. He'd been doing ups too much. And have you ever heard of ups?
I heard that post game comment, and I did not know what he was talking about.
I had never heard that before, and this is why it's great that we added Tim Dillard and Vinny Rotino and Siggy to the rotation. They kind of help with the vernacular. Ups, it's just getting up and down every inning. Like he had gone to the bench to get up after between bats. I had never heard that before, so I asked him about it, and Woody said it afterwards. He's like, "Look, I mean, I was doing ups a lot. Like he was cooling down, then he was getting up, and he was cooling down, he's getting up, and it's only his second start of the year. So why test it? I mean, you have a bullpen that is reliable, that obviously has floundered a couple games this year, but again, it's only been 7 games, so it'll be fine."
I couldn't agree more. I think that, when Woody's going in, well, first off, when he was going into the 6th, I mean, his pitch count was super low, and I know everybody was up in arms about pulling him out, but I mean, without I call them the main three, and they may fluctuate throughout the year, but Woodruff, Burns, and Peralta. I mean, if you can lock those three in as your top three, this offense will turn around and look out NL Central, maybe the NL. I mean, the NL seems kind of open as far as that one team that kind of sticks out. Obviously, the Dodgers, but San Diego's dealing already with Tatis Jr. out. I think it's an oblique injury. So, I mean, outside of the Dodgers and maybe, the Padres, the Brewers' chances in the NL, I think are just as good as any.
Especially with his pitching staff. And again, we've seen this now 5 years with Counsell. He's led the team to 3 straight postseason berths. He's going to play the numbers. I understand people don't like that. Numbers don't lie. The gut can mislead. I remember covering the Mets in that 2015 run when I was working in New York. And it was a game 3. It must have been game 3 back at Citi Field. Matt Harvey's throwing a freaking gem. 8 innings, just shutting down the Royals. Terry Collins gets Jeurys Familia up in the pen, and he should have gone to Jeurys Familia. But Matt Harvey, who was very confident at the time, was like, you know what, Terry, I'm going back out there. You're not sitting me. I'm going out there. I'm going to win this game. You got to let me do it. And Terry went with his gut. And what happened was, maybe it was game 4. And what happened was, I think it was a Hosmer ball off of center field, Wall, Kane doubles, and then they had to pull him, and the Royals go on to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers don't lie. The gut will lie every now and then. The numbers say third time through, ERAs go up, batting averages go up, get a guy out. And it's game 2, and he's already fatigued. It's just the way, and I understand this has always been a talking point with Brewers fans, and I get it, especially older Brewers fans, older baseball. They don't like seeing these pitchers that are being babied. Well, pitching is different nowadays. It's empty the tank as much as you can, pitch for as long as you can, as hard as you can. We'll get you out, and we'll put the bullpen in. And that's what Craig Counsell's done. That's what David Stearns has really lived by, and it's been successful. So it's frustrating when you see it, because you would think people would adapt by now. But it's hard.
And I call it the dark web, Twitter and Facebook. It's the dark web. It's the dark world. It's just toxic. So I try to avoid it.
Yeah, you think you don't gotta tell me, man.
I already know. I already know. Now I know we just talked about being in a long season, and I totally agree. The one thing that keeps being brought up, whether it's local radio, not so much national, but obviously in the dark web, any concern going forward with Keston Hiura, in your opinion? Now, the position changed. Is that something he's overthinking and it's taking away from? I mean, he's 1 for 23 to start the season. You're talking about a guy that, prior to coming up to the big leagues, in his first few months in the big leagues, you're talking about, possible batting, title in the near future for him. Is this something that, we're only 7 games in, not a big deal, but hey, maybe we think about it. Is he pressing too hard? I mean, position change. What are your kind of thoughts on Keston Hiura?
If you look at Hiura's career, every level he's gone up, he has struggled mightily at first.
Okay.
Especially with strikeouts. Single A to double A to triple A. We didn't see it in 2019 when he came up, which I think is kind of setting this bar right now. He has always struggled adapting at first. Now, sometimes the adapting takes a week. Sometimes it takes 2 months. Pitchers have found that he will chase anything high and out of the zone. So that's going to be something he's going to have to deal with. And look, he's making a position change. You have to realize this was a guy who played outfield in college, tore his UCL, had to learn how to play second base, had never played second base. So now he is 10,000 ground balls behind everybody at the major league level. But because his bat's so good, he's being thrown in. And now you're telling him to play another position that is foreign to him. So at this point, it might be a little bit of pressing, but at some point he's going to have to learn that pitchers have adapted to him and there's enough film on him now. Think about this. There were a lot of people speculating that after 2019, the Brewers should have probably tried to trade Corbin Burns because he could be a project for somebody else. Imagine if that would have happened, because 2019, Corbin Burns was so bad they took him out of baseball. Think about that.
I remember that.
They demoted him, and then they're like, you know what? You are done for the season. We're going to send you down to our scientific lab in Maryvale, figure out what the hell's wrong, and then we'll see what happens in 2020. Keston Hiura is kind of in the same boat. He doesn't have the same track record as a Christian Yelich or an Omar Narvaez, where there's a little bit of more on the back of the playing card that you're expecting them to kind of break out of it. But it would, I mean, shock me if at some point Hero doesn't get back to the guy that we know he is, because at every level he's shown, yeah, he struggled at first, but he's made the adjustments and he's always succeeded.
I don't disagree with that. I'm a huge Hero fan. I remember when they called him up. I'm super excited for him, and I agree with you. I think as the season goes on, again, it's a long season. Brewers fans, we got to kind of just be realistic about it. It's only April 9th, so one more.
And look, he is struggling. He is struggling.
Yeah.
Though. I mean, there can be some concern there. I could see Counts putting him on the bench for a day or two to kind of get his head straight. But again, as you just said, I mean, it's 7 games in. The dude has a proven track record that at every level he has succeeded when given the ample opportunity. Now he's facing the first bit of adversity, and he's always succeeded. So I don't see why he wouldn't now.
And I completely agree. One more Brewer question before I ask you about the Bucks, and I might be reaching here, Dario. And if I am, reach through the camera and slap me. But I gotta ask. 2019 September. I can't remember the exact date. Yelich is on his way for a back-to-back MVP. Foul ball goes off his kneecap. In my opinion, and I don't know the analytics of this, particular question or statement I'm going to make to you. Something changed with him. I mean, obviously last year he struggled. I give him the benefit of the doubt. It was a weird year. Is there something different with him, do you think, from 2018, 2019 to what we see now? I mean, you're seeing a guy that, struggles, at times, and a guy that strikes out a lot more than what I'm accustomed to. Again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I'd be lying to you if I told you anything. Do you think there's any concern? Is he thinking about that injury? I know he called it a freak accident, and it's something that, he struggled with mentally. Is there any worry there at all, do you think?
I'm trying to figure out a way I can come through and slap you, but I can't do that right now. I'm looking. I just pulled up his stats real quick. Obviously, he goes 0 for 3 against Seattle or St. Louis, I should say. He has a 3-hit day against Chicago, 1 hit with a run against Chicago, 0 for 1 hit, 2 hit, 0 for. So I mean, he's batting around 300 right now.
I mean, his home runs are down though. His home runs are way. Yeah, I know last year's weird.
Yeah, I mean that's what I would tell anybody outside of 5 players. 2020 was a poop show. I wouldn't invest any thought into what happened in 2020 with anybody. I mean, Bryce Harper was terrible. I mean, pretty much outside of Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Jose Abreu, everybody in Major League Baseball stunk. It is what it is, because you only have 22 months, which in a normal season, you'd be through May and you still have a chance to kind of get it going. I mentioned Aramis Ramirez earlier, and 2 months for him, he would have looked like the worst third baseman of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It looks good, man. Like, I understand the strikeouts have been up a little bit, but from what I've seen, the games I've covered, I mean, he looks like he's seeing the ball pretty well. He's not falling off as much. It just looks like early season woes for most hitters. I mean, most hitters struggle in the beginning of the year. That's why you see so many strikeout totals and pitchers just dominating, which toward the end of the year, you're not going to see that. You're going to see a lot of long balls. But right. I think Yelich will be just fine. Look, 2020, I put zero stock into anything that happened in 2020. I mean, I think agree. It was great that the Brewers made the postseason. I think it worked. Look, Clayton Kershaw, there's a reason why he struggles every year in the postseason. I mean, he's an older pitcher right now, and he usually has 7 months of pitching on his arm. He only had 2 months, and he was able to dominate month 3, which was a playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
So 2020, it's hard to really put any stock into because it's just such a weird year. But I think Yelich looks good right now. I just think the entire team's kind of too tight because they kind of feel the pressure. They can hear the fans. They understand what's going on. They see the team they have because this team's built for a run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they look good. I mean, outside of maybe shortstop right now, which is still a little bit of a concern. I mean, the outfield might be the best in all of baseball. You have a great second baseman. I think Travis Shaw is showing that he can still hit the ball. The pitching staff's phenomenal. Like, this team is built to do something really special. And all you have to do is get 2 to 3 games under your belt where you're just hitting the ball really well and everything will be fine. And they just haven't done that yet because they only have 7 games so far.
Yeah, and it's super early, and I do appreciate you diving into the Brewers talk. I do want to do a little bit of a transition here, and I know you are limited on time, and that's fine. I wanted to get your thoughts real quick on the Drew Holiday extension. There's a lot of people that are upset. You say a 30-year-old, you're going to be paying a 34-year-old, $30 million, whatever it is. I just, for the first 15 minutes of the show, went on a love fest with Drew Holiday because I love him. I think what he brings to the court, offensively and defensively, it's probably the best two-way guard in the NBA, in my opinion. And you can maybe make the case for the best two-way player, period, minus maybe Giannis and a couple others. But what were your thoughts when that news broke last Sunday on Easter? Drew Holiday, 4 years, 135, chance to get up to 160.
I was ecstatic. Like, look, I've gotten to know Drew personally, and he's a great dude. Like what he and his wife Lauren do for the community, number one, is worth everything. And it's hilarious because his wife is a better athlete than he is. If people don't know, Lauren Holiday is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, a World Cup champion, MVP in her soccer league. Like, she's a baller. So he's the scrub in that family. But you see what he does on the court. Like when Giannis isn't there, which we saw the last 3 games. And look, I mean, the Dallas game, they had the entire game until the final 6 minutes. The Warriors game, they had the entire game until the final 4 minutes. It looked like people got gassed a little bit. But, man, like defensively, you ask Kevin Durant, you ask Damian Lillard, you ask Russell Westbrook, they all say the toughest guy that they have to face is Drew Holiday. That says a lot. Like, you're not getting that from anybody else. You're just not. And then offensively, what he can do, just getting his own shot, where he just bullies guys down low. It was a great signing. And it's a great pairing because he's selfless. Like, he doesn't need to be the superstar. He can allow Giannis to be. And I think what the past 3 games are showing us is that Giannis is the MVP.
Again, by far, yeah.
Because guys aren't used to not getting the shots that they want. Bobby Portis has been phenomenal. I know we're supposed to be talking about Drew Holiday. And
I agree with you about Bobby. I love Bobby.
Yeah. To answer your question, though, Drew Holiday is worth every penny. What he does, he's a massive, massive difference maker. Probably one of the most underrated signings this offseason for any team was Bobby Portis.
Absolutely.
I mean, Bobby Portis, what he brings off the bench is phenomenal. That's why when he's in the starting lineup, the team's a little worse because starting lineup, his numbers percentage-wise are better. He's doing a really good job, but that means you lose the pop off the bench. So when Giannis takes a break, who do you bring in?
All right.
I mean, you bring Bobby Portis. So when Portis takes a break, who you bringing in? Like,
exactly.
You're going to bring in
the nasty.
No one. Yeah, the nasty. Man,
last night was fun though. I was loving. I was.
Thanasis is turning into a really valuable basketball player.
I agree. I really do.
I mean, look, I covered him when he got drafted by the Knicks, and he was bad. I mean, all he did was play in Westchester. His first season or 2 with the Bucks. I mean, we get to watch parts of shoot around that no one else does, and it was rough watching him shoot around. Like he just didn't really have a lot of touch around the rim. He didn't have a lot of touch with the basketball. I will say though, whatever he did this offseason, his touch looks a lot better, and he's just annoying. Like, he's that guy that is so annoying it gets under your skin, and he's gonna laugh and smile about it the entire time. Look, we saw it in the third quarter of the Mavericks game. The Mavs were up a little bit. Thanasis kind of starts sparking that second unit, and it got under Doncic's skin. It got under Porzingis' skin. Like, there's value there. I don't know how much value and how much playing time we'll see in the playoffs, but for the regular season, I mean, it's fun. He's turning into a really solid NBA player.
I didn't have this written down for a question or a topic I wanted to go over with you, but something in me watching him, and now I'm not the best NBA analyst or fan, I don't know the most, but since PJ Tucker got to Milwaukee, Thanasis' defense looks a little bit more controlled. He looks like his body's a little bit more under control. I mean, do you see PJ Tucker working with him pregame? Maybe talk about it. I mean, it just seems like PJ Tucker comes to Milwaukee via trade, and it seems like Thanasis is always full of energy, high motor. But it seems like now he's a little bit more under control. Like, he's got a little bit more. He's got somebody, walking through certain things with him. And I don't know. Maybe if PJ Tucker, Drew Holiday is also a great defender, but maybe PJ Tucker's working with him. I don't know.
Look, I haven't personally seen. It wouldn't surprise me if PJ's given him a couple pointers. I mean, he's a pretty selfless guy, but to me, it's all about confidence. Yeah. Like, Thanasis has seen he can have success at this level, and he is understanding what his role is. Like, his roles. not to get buckets. His role is to be an agitator, but to be a controlled agitator, not a guy that's going to start fights like Enes Kanter or anything, like a guy that's going to go out there, play really good defense, try not to get a foul, but if you do get a foul, it's okay. But he's also shown that, you let him go one-on-one with someone, every now and then he'll just leap out of the building because of his freak athleticism. Mm-hmm. What was it the other day? I think it was against the Knicks when he went 4 for 5 from downtown.
Oh yeah, he was 4 for 4 for a while. Yeah,
where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, that was incredible.
So to me, look, basketball, sports, life, it's all about confidence. That's why I would never do a show with Rhino. Like, the dude has no confidence ever. I had to get a poke in.
He's listening. No. He's tuning in.
Good. I hope he listens because you need confidence, bro. Life, sports, it's all about confidence. And you could see his growing this year. And that's why Coach Bud's playing him. Look, Coach Bud isn't going to play guys that don't deserve it. Like, he's not just going to give minutes away to give minutes away. Like, you have to earn it. And Thanasis, to his credit, has earned every single minute this season.
So I got to ask, it might be nothing. I believe it's last 4 games now.
I'll stop you right there. I think it's nothing.
Okay.
So
thank you.
Before the Portland Trailblazers game, we're about to blow up our entire show. So, and I actually love that because it kind of gets my adrenaline going.
Right.
So we had an entire show lined up for Bucks Live. And we're like, hey guys, Giannis just left the court limping really bad. And they showed us the video, and he's just going through some like crazy shoot arounds, and like he collapses. Then he gets back up. He tries to test it out. He shoots again, and his left knee just gives out. So he had to kind of be helped off the court to go to the locker room. So we're about to go live with this. Hey, breaking news. Giannis might not play, might have injured himself. And all of a sudden someone gets in my ear. Hey, we're going back to the normal show. We don't know if he's going to get scratched. We don't know anything. He goes on to score 47 points.
I do remember that.
So at this point, the key for the Bucks, because they've already had the top seed the last 2 years and it hasn't worked out. The key for the Bucks is not just be healthy, but to be 100% healthy. And that includes Giannis. Could Giannis play tonight? Could he have played last night or the night before? I would say probably. He probably could have dressed for either of those games. But Coach Bud wants his superstar at 100%, and he wants to see what these guys can do without them. Because we also saw last year in the Heat series, Giannis goes down. The Bucks were able to win a game without Giannis half the time. They weren't able to do a game without him the entire time. So Coach Bud's not dumb. Like, the Bucks struggled a little bit in the beginning of the season because he's throwing little wrinkles out there. Like, this game, we're going to switch everything. Next game, we're playing drop defense. The next game, we're going to throw some zone in. We're going to play this guy in this position. We're going to play him here. Like, Coach Bud's tinkering a little bit to give his guys different looks for the playoffs. It doesn't surprise me if that's his game plan right now, where Giannis could have played, but you know what? I want to see what these guys will do for 3 games, and now it's going to be 4 because he's not playing against the Hornets then at Pfizer Forum. I want to see what these guys will do without Giannis for 4 games.
Speaking of
this, could happen.
Right. Well, it's a very real possibility, especially the way Giannis plays and the physicality that he brings night in and night out. Speaking of not playing, are you not working the Bucks game tonight?
No, I'm off tonight. So tomorrow starts 17 straight days. This year's gonna be great.
It's exciting.
We're making up for some lost cash from last year, but with Bucks and Brewers at the same time for 2, maybe 4 months, depending how far the Bucks go. It is going to be busy for myself, Craig, Steve, Sophia, Zora. But so I have tonight off, and I think I got 17 in a row. I got Brewers Saturday, then Bucks, then Brewers, then Brewers, then Bucks. So it's going to be back and forth, and it's fun though, man. I'll take it all day, every day.
So what you're saying is, in 18 days or 19 days, you're going to come back on the podcast and talk some more Bucks and Brewers.
Oh, for sure. As long as Rhino's not on the podcast.
He's dropping in some of the comments. He's a little upset right now with you, so you might get a DM later.
Good. He's a dingleberry.
And that's going back to your comments about the Bucks and the Brewers, and this is the first episode. We're on a new network, and that's why I'm thrilled with this podcast, because I'm a diehard Bucks and a diehard Brewers fan. And when I brought the idea, I said, this is perfect. Bucks and Brewers run together. I mean, the Bucks are getting into their playoff run. The Brewers are in the midst of their season. And then, as the baseball season goes, the basketball season picks right back up. So it's an exciting time to be a Bucks and a Brewers fan. Big things to look forward to. Hopefully Chris Middleton picks up his performances. I know there's a lot of haters on Chris Middleton right now, but I know you got to run. I really appreciate the time.
Anytime, man.
Again, for those that are tuning in, this is Dario Melendez, Bally Sports TV and reporter, pregame and postgame. You can follow him on Twitter at Dario_Melendez. Sir, thank you. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you on TV getting ready for the Eastern Conference Finals and hopefully the finals. That'd be a ton of fun, especially for the city. It'd be great.
Man, I'll take it. I mean, I want a championship parade down Water Street. That's what I want.
Exactly. I made an intro for the show and a little bit of a teaser. I said, what is it going to take to get a parade in downtown Milwaukee? I mean, something's got to give. So hopefully this is the year. Again, thank you, sir. I look forward to having you come on again, and I'll be watching for you on Bally Sports and hopefully 97.3 the game. I'm not going to break any news, but hopefully I hear you again.
We'll see what happens, but just don't forget, we're going to be celebrating June 4th. Dario
Absolutely.
Melendez Day.
Do not forget those tuning in June 4th, Dario Melendez Day, Milwaukee, Greenfield. Fill me in on the rest.
Mequon, and then state of Wisconsin, I think too. They do a proclamation. So the only person who's not allowed to celebrate is Rhino. He's the worst. He's the worst.
Sir, I appreciate you. Hey, you have a great night. Enjoy your night off with your family. Look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. Thank you.
All right, Brandon. Thanks, man.
Have a good one. And Dario drops off, but that does not mean we are done, ladies and gentlemen. I have so much more I want to dive into. Holy cow. That was so much fun talking to Dario Melendez. And if you don't get a chance, please follow him on Twitter. He is hilarious and he's very interactive too. So yeah, a lot of stuff that Dario said kind of sticks out. And a lot of stuff kind of helps me put me at ease because I'm a Milwaukee fan. You know, we're used to the disappointment. We're used to getting to the finals and Eastern Conference Finals and going up 2-0 and then losing. And we're used to the Brewers getting all the way to Game 7 and dropping off. And so it is a long year. It is a long Brewer season. So I think we do got to give these guys some time. Give Keston Hiura some time. I know I brought up to Dario Christian Yelich. His kind of struggles, leading back from his, freak knee injury. Is that something to be concerned about? I mean, is it something that's in his head? I mean, I don't know. I would think that, he, is the Christian Yelich of the old and the guy that we traded for in the winter of 2017, 2018. So I hope that they get turned around. I think the pitching will be sustained. I mean, you look at these numbers real quick. I mean, just sit back and listen to these numbers. I mean, you got Corbin Burns, 2 games, 12.1 innings pitched, 2 hits. He's allowed 2 hits in 12 innings, 1 run. I believe it was a solo home run against the Twins and his only run. He's got a .73 ERA. Again, it's only 2 games. Pump the brakes. I get it. I know. Freddie Peralta started 2 games. He's 1-0, 7 innings pitched. He has not allowed a run. 0.0 ERA. Only 3 hits. 14 strikeouts. Woodruff, 2 games. It took a no-hit bid into the 6th inning, I believe, against Chicago. 11 innings pitched. He's only allowed 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 13 strikeouts. If this starting rotation is going to be like this, then even if they take a little bit of a step backwards, if this starting rotation retains and keeps this level of play, his offense is going to turn around. My friends down in Chicago, down there in St. Louis, watch out. Because once Yelich gets it turned around, once Hiura starts getting his confidence, I mean, this team is set up for success. And like Dario said, they're set up for a postseason run. I mean, they're defensively, you're talking about multiple Gold Glove winners: Yelich, Colton Wong, Jackie Bradley Jr., Lorenzo Cain. I mean, they're set up for a fun run. And I think that eventually this offense will put it together. Adam drops by in a comment and he says, once the weather heats up, the bats around the league will start to heat up as well. And I couldn't agree more. It is early. Remember, these guys had a weird year last year, and they're adjusting to fans in the stands. And if you're in Milwaukee, speaking of fans in the stands, if you're in Milwaukee, do not forget April 12th, AmFam Field opens up tailgating. So that's super exciting. Adam says the Brewers were his pick to win the NL Central. Adam, you and I can be friends officially outside of Twitter. I agree with you, my friend. I think that they are going to win the NL Central as well. Let's just hope that Craig Counsell makes the right calls. Speaking of calls, I was looking at my Spectrum bill and just 2 days ago and thought how ridiculously high that it was. So I reached out to One Call Technology to see if they could help me out. Adam and the guys over there are awesome. They took my bill, ran some analytics on it, and saved me roughly 20%, and actually able to upgrade my internet speed as well. So if you do go over there, head on over there. You can either jump on their website, www.onecalltech.com, or give them a call at 888-585-8850 and tell them Brandon from the Brew City Lounge sent you. So making a last transition into the show, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Milwaukee Bucks before we wrap up the first official show. And I kind of want your thoughts. What do you guys think? I ran a Twitter poll. Again, find the page, the podcast page on Twitter at Brew City Pod. I ran a Twitter poll because it's something that I've gone, especially after last night. Chris Middleton goes 627, and you kind of wonder to yourself, Drew Holiday has a bad day. I think they were both minus 24 in the plus or minus category, however you feel about that. But I ran a poll, and I want kind of your thoughts. Now, drop a comment on YouTube right now, because I know you're listening. I know you want to talk about it. Drop a comment on YouTube. Jump on Twitter, again, Twitter at Brew City Pod, or Facebook, Brew City Lounge. Obviously, Giannis is your number one option. That's never going to change. As Giannis goes, the Bucks go. We all know that. Doesn't mean Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton have to be the MVP. Doesn't mean that they have to be comparable to Giannis. They're just not. There's not many more Giannis's in the NBA. Besides Giannis being your number one option, who is number two in your opinion? Because it's a great question. I mean, and you could go back and forth on it multiple times. Who is it in your opinion? I mean, come the playoffs, we know Giannis is going to see the wall. He's going to see it in Philly if they ever get there, play them. He's going to see it in Brooklyn. Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, and obviously Kevin Durant. You're going to see it in Philly with Joel Embiid. Somebody else besides Giannis has to step up. He has to. Number two option. What, in your opinion, those that are listening, who, in your opinion, is that number two? Do they need a number two? Does it matter? Could it be both? In my opinion, the number two is probably Chris Middleton, based off of what you're paying him and his productivity in the playoffs already. Not taking anything away from Drew Holiday. You guys know how I feel about Drew Holiday. I think he's probably, like I said, best two-way point guard, maybe player in the NBA. So again, I want your guys' opinion. Who in the Bucks? Giannis is not always going to be on his game. There's going to be times where he has an off night. He's going to get in foul trouble. We know how the NBA referees and how the NBA system works. They hate Giannis. They hate that he stayed in Milwaukee. We don't care. We love him, and we're going to take care of him. But in your opinion, who is the number two? Now, I got a couple comments here I want to read off. Jake says Drew brings more overall performance than Mid does. And again, I don't disagree with that. I lean towards Middleton just because of the scoring. I think that Middleton, when he's right, take away last night's game, everybody's going to struggle. I think that he's able to create, he's not the best dribbler. And those that watch the Bucks know this. His passing suspect at times, but when it comes to pure scoring, mid-range, 3-point, I think he's overall the more of a number two. But then again, I mean, do you really need a number two? Can it be both? And I ran a poll on Twitter. Who is the number two option in team after Giannis? 45%, which is obviously one, was it doesn't matter. It could be both. And I agree with that. You're going to have nights where Drew has a better matchup to score offensively. And you're going to have a night where Chris Middleton in his 6'8", 6'9" frame is going to be in a better position offensively and defensively to score. And I think that It could be both of them. We all know that this team's success lies directly on Giannis. Dario said, and again, Dario's plugged into that team. He works with them all the time. Again, you heard him. He's there at the shoot around. He said it's not something to be worried about. I want to take his word for it. I think that Dario knows what he's talking about. Again, he works there. He's with them. I think that he has more knowledge on the situation than I do. I just never found Giannis a type of guy to miss 4 straight games, 6 out of 11, pulling up in shoot arounds and needs help walking off the court. To me, that is a little bit more than nothing, I think. And that's my opinion. And I don't know any more than anybody, but that's just my take on it. Giannis has never been the type of guy to miss multiple games. And I know that they were on a tumultuous road trip. It was just brutal. They went from like all of California, shot up to Oregon and shot up to Texas. And now they're back home. And I was talking about it on the pre-show. If you didn't tune in to Twitter or follow what's going on with the Bucks, pretty much the whole starting lineup is out. So we're going to have like another New York Knicks type game, which I love Thanasis, man. And I know not everybody is on the same page with him, but it is fun to watch him and frustrate Luka last night. And but getting back to it, I think that it's a question that, it's deservingly needs to be asked. Who is the number 2? You're paying Chris Middleton max money, and you're paying Drew Holiday a ton of money as well. So I think that it's something that, can be asked. The Bucks right now sit 32-19, are 3.5 games back from the number 1 seed. And, the only thing that concerns me with the seeding, and I agree with Dario, they were the number 1 seed the last 2 years and shouldn't really, matter where they are as long as, they're set up for postseason success, being healthy. I think it kind of matters a little bit. I mean, you look at Drew Holiday, and he's new. Right? He hasn't been on this team the last 2 seasons, last 2 playoff runs. He needs time to play with these guys. He needs time to figure out the tendencies that Giannis has. And for the love of God, I pray that Bud lets Drew Holiday run the offense. I know I'm getting off topic here, but this just triggered my brain to remember. I am absolutely sick and tired of Dante or Chris Middleton, sometimes even Giannis, bringing the ball up on the court. You are paying Drew Holiday $135 million. Run the offense through him. Let him facilitate. Let him set up the offense. That's what he's great at. That's what you brought him here for. I do not want to see, no offense to Dante or Chris Middleton, I do not want to see that anymore. I'm tired of it. And I'm not the best and most knowledgeable NBA fan. I'm not. But when I'm watching a game, I can tell you who I'd rather have the ball up. And I think you guys can too. I think it has to be Drew Holiday. I don't understand why it's not ran through him. And maybe there's something going on behind the scenes. Maybe Drew doesn't want to. I don't know. I'm not speculating. I'm not creating a conspiracy here. I'm very curious as to why the Bucks offense is not run through Drew Holiday. It picks at my brain and it makes me angry when I'm sitting at home watching the Bucks struggle offensively to get in their set, and their half court offense is just stagnant. And you see guys just standing around looking at one another because Dante's got the ball or Chris Middleton has the ball in the corner and he has nowhere to go with it. And Brooke Lopez is in La La Land behind the 3-point line. What is that? It's an open question. Like what are we doing here? You got 6'11" Giannis, 7 foot Brooke. Why aren't these guys down on the block? And I'm not questioning Bud's offense. He's a heck of a coach. Very, very knowledgeable. Not taking these are no shots at Mike Budenholzer. I won't take shots at my guys on this show. But I'm just wondering. I don't understand with the offense sometimes. It just seems like they get out there and they get down the court and they let it go, and they get lost in the sauce, and they don't know what's going on. And you got guys running around, and then eventually Giannis has to, drive and gets fouled, or more times than not, according to the NBA, commits an offensive foul. Whatever. Okay. NBA officiating is a joke. It was put on display last night. If you didn't pay attention, go online and Google or search the Drew Holiday foul on Porzingis. It's a joke. But we'll end on a positive note. Bucks do play tonight. The Brewers are off tonight. I am looking forward to the interaction with you guys. Drop a comment. Follow us on Twitter at Brew City Pod. Follow us on Facebook at Brew City Lounge. I love to hear from all of you guys. I appreciate the support from all of you, everybody listening. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, and then continue to follow the show on social media. Very interactive. I live and die with this city. I'm like you. I'm just like you. Every loss hurts, some more than others, and we celebrate every win, and we do it together. And hopefully with COVID, we can get into AmFam Field more and more throughout the year. And I love to meet up with you guys, have a beer, watch some Brewers, maybe have a Pfizer forum. Hopefully they're opening up their numbers as well. Noah drops in a few comments. His number 2 option is and has to be Drew. We agree with that, Noah. I like Middleton, but you can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong. And I appreciate you guys dropping by those comments. Noah, Jake, my dad, Adam again, couple Adams on here. Sorry, Rhino, that Dario hurt your feelings. We'll get through it together. I really do appreciate it. Again, follow me on Twitter. I am your host. I'm going to be here every Tuesday and Friday. Some days might differ depending on who I got coming on. So just pay attention on Twitter, on Facebook, maybe on Instagram. I'm not like an Instagram person, so I don't really know how that works. So maybe we'll dive into some Instagram stuff. But tune in on Tuesday. If you are a Packer fan, and I hope that most of you are on this show that are tuning in, don't forget Sunday at noon, Titletown Lounge has its first episode. I am a co-host on there along with my buddy Rhino. Bart Winkler from 1250 AM The Fan jumps on. We're going to talk Packers, pre-draft talk, all that fun stuff about the Packers. Again, thank you guys. Follow me on Twitter, follow the podcast page on Twitter. And don't forget, follow the new network on Twitter at Lounge Room Net. Look forward to hearing all of you guys' opinions on the upcoming season. Go Brewers, go Bucks, let's go Milwaukee. Thank you. Have a great night. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the very first episode of the Brew City Lounge. I greatly appreciate it. Please do not forget to subscribe. Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcast. Please drop in, subscribe, give a follow, give a review. Greatly appreciated. Let's go, Milwaukee.